smoothie. It's flurrying. It hasn't snowed in forever. You can kind of see it. Hello friends, long time no see. Happy 2025. First of all, I look like a mess because obviously I just woke up. It's morning and I'm just being real with all of you. Like, I don't even really care anymore. I'm 20 weeks pregnant, by the way. So I'm just a mess, and I guess I just would love if you guys could accept that today. I'm exhausted all the time. But we are having a boy, so that is very, very exciting. My due date is May 20th, so we are very, very excited. I am so happy to be pregnant and to be having a baby, especially with RA, because I just wasn't sure if that was going to cause like complications or anything like that. However, I don't enjoy pregnancy itself. So yeah. Also, I am not in my office where my desk and everything would usually be. We actually had to move everything into the dining room for right now because we are doing home renovations for the nursery. So getting that taken care of, basically turning the office into the nursery, but we still have to do like some work. And yeah, so that is definitely going to be a process. There is just a lot going on right now. I also have a doctor's appointment at 1 p.m. with my OB. It is my like official 20-week appointment, so that'll be exciting. But I did want to come on here. I will do a video about like my experience being pregnant with RA in a separate or at a separate time. However, today I really wanted to talk about the new year and how I'm feeling with it, and just giving my biggest tips on how to help you make your new year the best that it can be. So I have 10 tips that I want to share with you guys to help you reach any New Year's goals, resolutions, intentions, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to accomplish this year. So the first one is setting an intention instead of a goal. And this is if you feel like really overwhelmed with setting a specific goal for yourself. Sometimes it just helps to set some kind of intention of how you want to be, or how you want to do things, how you want to act, how you want to basically like carry yourself through 2025, instead of setting a very specific goal if you feel like that's just not the vibe this year. The second one is to start small and allow yourself to build from there, because I feel like a lot of times when we're really motivated and we set a big goal for ourselves, we tend to just go all or nothing, and that can actually be detrimental, especially with fitness, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But really allow yourself to start small with reaching whatever goal you would like to. Don't put a ton of pressure on yourself to change your life overnight, because that's just not realistic, and it's also not as sustainable because it's just overwhelming for our brains to handle that much change in our habits at one time. So start small with small changes and allow yourself to gradually build on those things as you feel fit. The third one is to make a plan that works specifically for you. So don't try to copy other people's plans. Don't try to copy other people's routines or whatever it is, because chances are that is not going to work optimally for you or your body, especially when it comes to any type of health or fitness goal. But even if it's like a mental goal, a wellness goal, financial or career, relationships, really make yourself sit with yourself and figure out what you actually want and what you can actually do right now, like what you can start implementing to help you achieve that. So now we're going to talk about tips that are specifically about health and fitness with arthritis, because that is obviously my specialty. So first of all, start slow and light when it comes to starting with your strength training. And I've always said this, I think I'm just like a broken record when it comes to this, but allow yourself to exercise at a slower tempo than you would normally think to train at, because that can actually help recruit more muscle fibers. It can help to actually build more strength. It actually helps to activate the muscle fibers that are responsible for joint stability a lot better. And it can just help you get through the movements without putting that much pressure on the joints through like super fast-paced movements. So start slow, and then also start with light weight when it comes to strength training. So if you are somebody who used to do CrossFit or super heavy lifting, allow yourself to start light. Do not let the ego get in the way. Just be okay with becoming a quote unquote beginner again, because essentially you have a new body with these new limitations that you now have to cater to. Next is to back up on the workout frequency and make sure that you are balancing things like cardio. And this is very, very specific to the individual, okay? But I will say that when it comes to frequency, do not set a goal for yourself to work out every single day at the same intensity, because it's just not going to serve you, most likely. A lot of times, people who tend to work out even 5 times a week for 2 hours at a time, when you have arthritis, you're basically accumulating stress, because exercise is a stressor on the body. And when you're accumulating that much stress without allowing your body to recover properly, that can actually exacerbate your autoimmune symptoms and cause flares. So if you're somebody who maybe tried this before, you try to do a boot camp thing or something like that 5 times a week, and then you ended up flaring at the end of the week, that is probably a big reason why. So we really, really want to make sure that we're not putting too much stress on the body at one time. So really start slow. Start with maybe 3 strength training sessions a week, or 2 depending on your starting point and everything like that. And then make sure that you are stretching on your off days. So that is considered your daily movement. So don't think that stretching is unimportant or not as helpful in your training or in reaching your goals, because it definitely is, especially when you have joint pain issues. It helps so much with maintaining mobility and flexibility. But then also when it comes to balancing your cardio, this is still stress on the body, and a lot of people don't realize it because it can be low impact. So people will do things like biking for hours or walking for a really long time every single day and not realize why they feel so fatigued and why they feel so inflamed. And it's because it's still physical activity. Like, it can still put stress on your body, although it's not like bad for you. I will never say that. It's never bad for you. It's just about finding a balance and just not doing too much at one time. Like, allow yourself to build back up. And the thing is, like, the more strength you gain as well, the better you will be able to handle your cardio sessions. So for example, if you want to start with like 3 strength training sessions a week, I would maybe start with 2 or 3 cardio sessions per week. Just making sure that maybe you're starting with the cardio on separate days, unless you feel very confident that cardio is good for you to do on those strength training days. Like, if you feel like it's a good way to warm up your body, warm up your joints, which is totally understandable, then yeah, go for it. The next one is to warm up properly and stretch after your workouts. So this is a huge one as well. When you have arthritis or any kind of chronic joint pain, warming up properly before your workouts is a must. Like, it is so necessary to do. So please, please, please do not skip out on your warm-ups. The best way to warm up properly is to include things like stretching if you need it, dynamic stretches, and maybe some corrective or mobility type exercises. And this is very much dependent on the individual. Like, for my clients, we do movement assessments and we see where, you know, the weaker areas might be, where there's some limited mobility, and then we add in exercises in their warm-ups to help combat those things and help address those things, help kind of balance out those muscle imbalances. Things like that are going to be super, super important if you want to keep progressing and not have as much pain and get the most out of your fitness journey and workouts. But then also stretching afterwards, because a lot of times muscle tightness can cause even more joint pain and inflammation, and that is not fun to deal with. We don't want to deal with any more than we have to. So it is super, super important that you are stretching after your workouts, so that way you aren't feeling those things, because I've seen it, I've experienced it, where like I do a leg day, don't stretch. The next day, I'm sitting down at a desk for a long time. I stand up and my knees are like screaming at me. And it turns out that it is because my knees or my legs are super tight. Like, my hamstrings are tight, my quads are tight, and they're like pulling at the joints. That's what the muscles do. Is like, they will pull at the joints to move, but when they're super tight, they're going to pull even more. And that's not fun. And then this one kind of goes with the small changes, or like starting small and gradually building. When it comes to nutrition, make sure that you are making small changes at a time, especially if you're a beginner, if you are new to this fitness journey, this healthy lifestyle. Do not try to change your whole life overnight, okay? Do not try to cut out carbs overnight. So one thing you can do is focus on one meal at a time. So maybe choose a meal that you feel like you struggle with the most. And maybe that is lunch, because you work a day job and you work in an office, and sometimes it's easier to get DoorDash, or maybe eat like the food that's not so great for you that's there. So it might be better to pack your lunch ahead of time. So just start small and focus on one meal at a time. And as you start to do that, you will start to kind of get the hang of it and realize like what foods you like, what works for you. And then it will kind of, you know, snowball from there. But do not try to make like a whole change overnight. The next one is to have balance with eating like fun foods in moderation if you are able to. So I say if you're able to, because I know that there are many people in the arthritis, autoimmune world where there are food allergies, food intolerances, or sensitivities. And I obviously do not want you to try to eat those things if they make you feel really shitty, because that's not fun. So if you are able to like allow yourself to have some type of moderation in eating those fun foods in a balanced way. So not totally depriving yourself, because a lot of times when we try to deprive ourselves and cut things out entirely that we've been so used to eating for a long time, it can backfire, because psychologically we start to think about those things even more. And when we start to think about those things even more, then that's when binges can happen. And there are healthy ways to indulge in things like cookies or donuts or like even fried foods sometimes, without going overboard and without sacrificing your health and fitness goals. So allow yourself to have those things in moderation, especially when you are craving them and when you can't stop thinking about them, because it's more unhealthy to keep depriving yourself and having that totally like take over your mind until you start binging on the entire box of cookies than it is to have like a couple of cookies and move on with your life. The next one is to focus on your overall health and what your body is capable of, more so than hyper focusing on physique changes. And I see this a lot as a coach, where especially if we're really used to instant gratification and we want things like very quickly, we will see like, we're kind of picking at ourselves a little bit. We might be making huge strides in progress as far as like workouts go, like strength is getting better, endurance is getting better, flexibility is great, joint pain is lower, but I still have some fat on my midsection. So it's like you're ignoring all of these things that are happening for this one thing that hasn't happened yet. And it's not fun. It doesn't make your fitness journey enjoyable when we're constantly focused on the things that are not necessarily happening the way that we want it to. And the other thing is, like, when it comes to physique changes, it really kind of comes down to genetics. And people hold fat in different places. It's harder for people to lose fat in different places than others. And that is completely normal. It doesn't mean that it will never happen. It just takes a little bit more time. And maybe even like some changes in your workouts or nutrition or whatever it is. But if you are following like a program and have a coach, just stay consistent and allow these things to start happening. Because the thing is, like, and I've seen this as well, where you see the changes and the progress pictures, but when you are the one that's working toward your fitness goal and you're looking at yourself every single day, you still see like the flab on your arms or whatever it is that you just cannot get over. And even though it's shrunk or it's like it's changing, your body composition is changing, so it's really, really important to focus more so on what your body can do, on the other types of progress that you are making, so that way your fitness journey is enjoyable and you're staying motivated to actually make those changes happen, rather than just focusing on one specific thing that hasn't happened yet or isn't happening fast enough, and then feeling demotivated, discouraged, and then totally giving up. The last one is, and I feel like we should all be on board with this, and I definitely am with being pregnant, is prioritizing sleep. So making sure that you are really focusing on a consistent sleep schedule, or a more consistent sleep schedule. I know that's not totally doable for everybody to do every single day, but just putting an effort for it to be a little bit more consistent if it's not, and then making sure that you have some type of thing that you do to help your body and mind relax at nighttime. So you don't necessarily have to create an entire like nightly routine, although like if you want to, go for it. Just try to do 1 or 2 things that really help you wind down before bed, and try to implement those consistently, or as consistently as you can. So this could be doing some stretching with some deep breathing, or simply like limiting screen time. If that is like your biggest vice, like you are on your phone in bed and you look at the clock and all of a sudden it's 1 a.m., then put the phone, like start limiting your screen time. That's where the change really has to happen. So obviously this depends on the person, but make sure that you are prioritizing sleep, because this is where your body is going to recover the most. Especially when you have a chronic illness or any autoimmune issue. This is where the recovery happens. This is where the tissue repair happens. This is where we kind of are able to recharge the most, and your hormones are balancing out. Like, sleep is so important. I can't tell you how many times I've had clients have like issues, like fatigue all the time throughout the day, coupled with joint pain, and just not feeling great throughout the day. And it's because their sleep isn't good. And when we really focus on prioritizing sleep, all of a sudden their energy levels go up and their pain levels drop a little bit. And it's like they feel like a whole new person. And it's so important. I can't stress it enough. So make sure that you're prioritizing sleep. So my goal or intention for the new year, I am really hesitant to set a specific goal because I'm going to be having a baby in May, and I just don't, I'm completely new to motherhood. I don't even know what to expect. So it's really hard for me to clearly see that I can achieve a specific goal, like running a half marathon or doing a bodybuilding competition or something like that. So my biggest intention is to trust myself, because I feel like that has always been a struggle for me. Ever since I was little, I remember not being able to make a decision at all. And it could be because I'm a Libra, but honestly, it's just because I didn't have a lot of self-trust, and I would always ask other people, what should I do? And then go with whatever they say. And that was at a very young age. And ever since then, even now, I find myself asking for reassurance, or before I make a big decision, I would have to consult 2 or 3 different people about it and then go from there. Or I might make a decision in my head and then let other people talk me out of it. So I am really working on trusting myself, because I feel especially as I step into being a mother, that is going to be super important. But then also trusting myself with business and being a coach, not having to ask what should I do if a situation comes up, or just allowing myself to follow my intuition. And I know I have a really good coach intuition. A lot of times when a client has an issue or a problem with something, I know the answer almost right away. I'm this is probably what's going on. And then I second guess myself and then do some research or consult different people and come up with the exact same answer that I knew in the first place. So it's I should have just trusted myself anyways. So that is my intention for 2025. Let me know what your goal or intention is for this new year. It is a new year, a fresh start. I hope that everybody has a wonderful year ahead of them. And thank you so much for watching and spending this morning with me and accepting me as the mess that I am today. So thank you so much. Also, if you are wanting any kind of individualized guidance or coaching, I still have one-on-one coaching spots left in my Get Fit with Arthritis program. So click down below in the description for that to learn a little bit more and apply if you'd like to, and then we can see if it is a good fit for you. Spots are a little bit more limited now, so if you are wanting to really start something new this year, you have a goal set for yourself or an intention set for yourself, but you know that you need help with it or guidance with it, then I would absolutely love to help you. So do not hesitate to apply if this is you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.